So in Czechia, it's been mainly the north and northeast of the country. Miraculously, the capital Prague, where I am, has been spared. We just reached level 1 of flood alert. Parts of some of these regions, so the north and the northeast, and a bit of South Bohemia too, have been completely cut off of the rest of the country during those past days. Footage of towns we have seen being completely flooded, destroyed houses. As of today, we are registering 3 fatalities and still several people missing, especially 3 of them that are missing from a vehicle that drove in a river in Lipová Lázně in north of the country that was completely swept away by a river, flooded river, and police officers eventually found the vehicle this Monday, but it was empty, so the research teams are still looking for them.
Just how much rain has the region experienced? Is it unprecedented in some areas?
So it's not really unprecedented. That's we have to say that for that matter, Czech Republic has had a huge experience, I would even say a trauma in 2002, and especially Prague at that time had been completely devastated, especially the center. At the time, almost 250,000 of people in the country had been evacuated. I think this has been, for instance, a lesson to the authorities as the reaction of the authorities is concerned, because of course, I think 2002 was much more important in terms of rain and people evacuated than this time. And this has served a lesson because we were warned I mean, few days ago, last Tuesday, more than 100,000 firefighters have been deployed during those past days, which, when you think of the size of the country, which is 1.2 million inhabitants, is quite huge. And police and also the army has been deployed at the same time.
How have residents been coping? You talked before about power cuts and many have been evacuated.
Yeah, so I don't know if I mentioned it, but it was more than 10,000 people being evacuated, and in some places it's still going on. Most of the people affected, of course, were shocked. I mean, I said it was a trauma, but of course you never expect such a huge amount of water. As I said, the authorities had warned the people ahead, but there's been also appeals to follow the evacuation orders, because some people, for some reason, stayed in their homes, and that really complicated the work for the rescue teams. In some places, for instance, helicopters had to go and rescue people from rooftops who initially refused to be evacuated. So the authorities have really urged people to cooperate and not to underestimate the danger and to follow the instructions of local authorities. We have also to say that this weekend there are some regional elections in the whole country, so there have been appeals to postpone them, but in the end they said that the elections will go as planned, because that would be, according to the Chamber of Deputies Speaker, this would need a state of emergency and changing the law to postpone such an election.
Well, we're seeing some images of some clean-up operations underway. How big a task do authorities have?
So it's complicated to estimate now, because, I mean, there are still towns that are completely under the water. Of course, the water has, in some places, has gone. But you have to understand that it's dozens of houses that have been destroyed, infrastructures that are in critical disarray, whether we are talking about roads, railways, or bridges. So the government is still waiting for reports from the different regions, especially so the north and northeast, as I was saying. And the thing is, people can from now on ask for an extraordinary immediate aid that can go up to 73,000 crowns, which is approximately 4,800 Australian dollar. So there's space for immediate help. but for the whole evaluation of how much this will cost and what is to do, I think we still have to wait a few days.
Can you tell us more about the help that has been volunteered, particularly from the Ukrainian community?
Yeah, that's been very, thoughtful when you think of Ukraine is still, at war with Russia. So the new Ukrainian ambassador to the Czech Republic has called Ukrainian refugees in the country to help the Czechs. You have to know also that the Czech Republic is one of the countries that has been a staunch supporter of Ukraine from the beginning, and there are lots of refugees that have fled from Ukraine since February 2022. And the Ukrainian Minister of Foreign Affairs has also called his Czech counterpart to say that Kyiv was really ready to help with the rescue teams, although the country is at war. So they probably won't ask them to do so, but I think it's a very beautiful, way to express solidarity in both ways.
Indeed. Meanwhile, Storm Boris is expected to move further south and intensify. What warnings are in place at the moment?
Yeah, so now the situation is more for other neighboring countries. For instance, I think the situation still remains quite serious in Austria, with river levels rising also in Bavaria, which is in Germany, and in Dresden, which is also near the Czech border, but in the north. In Hungary, also, there's been appeals because the river Danube flows into Hungary, but they're not really expecting like huge floods like we have experienced here in Czechia. And also in Bratislava, which is the capital of Slovakia, neighboring country to Czechia, also they're expecting the water level of the Danube River to peak sometime today.
Well, Anna Kubista, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much for updating us.
Thank you very much.